I have 3 kids as well. 2 of them are teenagers, and so they are inundated, just like we are, every day with what's happening in social media. What's happening with, like, they're getting news updates just as much as we do. So not only so I'm kind of dealing with people who are on the front lines, teenagers who developmentally really can't even grasp this, and then the rest of us that fall somewhere else in between. Okay, so this class obviously applies for everybody. Obviously right now, this is even more prevalent than I would say normally, but it's always really, really important to understand that your emotions and your stress level are connected. And when we don't have these two things in check, your immune system will plummet. And as we know right now, the #1 thing that we can do for our bodies is to what? Kick our immune systems up, okay? So this class is gonna talk a lot about how to support your immune system and your stress levels from a emotional way, and how to help yourself calm down as far as as well as a physical way, because I think it's important for you guys to get a full rounded circle of all this, okay? So for anybody there, so I'm going to share my screen, but for anybody out there who has oils next to them, and I think probably all you do, Linda may not because she's outside, but if she has them sitting outside, fantastic. I want everyone to grab something that really grounds them or makes them feel calm. And I'm actually going to, I added this in kind of last minute because I think it's important. I'll be honest with you, I've had a day. Okay. And I've had to do this about 3 times today because this is what I talk to people about. So if I don't do it for myself, then it becomes irrelevant. So we're going to we might add a little 2 or 3 minutes onto this webinar, but I think it's important for everyone to do this. Okay. So I actually have Joy and Orange, which together smell amazing. And I'm going to talk about that, but I want everyone to take a moment, put a couple drops in their hand, whatever makes them feel good, close their eyes. Don't worry about anybody looking at you. And we're just gonna take some big breaths in and out just to kind of ground ourselves down and to remind ourselves how these oils impact us. So let's put our hands over our noses and cup ourselves like this. I don't wanna muffle my sound. And I'm gonna talk you guys through this. So we're gonna count in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe sip a little bit more at the top. Exhale everything out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is just a general reminder for everyone to think about the fact that breath, which is super important, is something, I'm going to shrink you guys all down here and move you over, that we can do no matter where we are, right? Let me just grab my presentation and we're going to hit play. Okay, so here we are. So breath is something we can do wherever we are. We can be sitting in our car. We can give ourselves a timeout and put ourselves into like a mom timeout or an employee timeout, whatever works, whatever feels good for you, okay? So I want you to remember, so for those who don't know, I am a yoga instructor as well. So breath is extremely important. Being able to make that connection to your body is extremely important. So making sure you remember to breathe and inundating your body with oils makes such an impactful difference, okay? All of you guys are oilers anyway, but I want you to think about this, and I've been saying this to a couple of people on my team. You think you're using a lot of oils, I want you to like triple down on how many oils you're using, okay? And I hope this class gives you good ideas and good reminders of how to do that, okay? So let's talk about emotions and essential oils. Okay, so our goal is to balance our mind and our body together. Same thing that happens in yoga. You want to find that kind of balance between the two of them. We want our bodies to be in harmony. And when we do that, we're able to reduce our stress levels in our body. And as I alluded to before I started recording this, when our physical stress levels, okay, are high, which a lot of ours are right now, it impacts sleep, it impacts our hormones, it impacts everything. You can become very snappy. That was how it was impacting me today. I just was very, very short. I could not I just couldn't deal with any kind of anything. So I was just like losing my stuff all the time. And that's how stress was affecting me today. So I had to acknowledge that and step back from it. So that's like, you know, as they say, that's your first step. So acknowledging that you're doing that and finding the balance between the things. So using your oils to breathe in and out was something I had to remove myself and do today. Okay. So that's something you can do for yourself. Remembering that just physically having, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have your diffusers going now, as do I. When you have a diffuser going, you're actually putting all the scents, actually the molecules, the essential oil into the air, and you're breathing those in. So without even having to do anything, you're doing that. So from just having your diffusers going, you're helping your body like take everything in and recalibrate your cells. Amazing, right? So you can do something that's going to make you wake up or something that's going to make you chill out. Awesome. So we can do that. So I want to encourage you guys to make sure that you're using your diffusers as much as possible, because we all are pretty much, except for Linda right now who's sitting outside, homebound. And even if you are going into an office situation, bring a diffuser with you. Like set a space that feels good for you, whether it's to keep you like increase your like just like spirit, or it's to de-stress you, or it's to make sure you're putting immune boosting things into the universe. Whatever feels good for you, understanding that. Again, remembering to use your oils on your body. A simple thing of putting on your hands and breathing them in. As soon as you remember to put them on your hands or anywhere on your body, within 20 minutes, it's in every cell of your body. That's how strong and how amazing these essential oils are. So they will actually start to change what's happening in your body within 20 minutes, because they'll be in every cell. But within 30 seconds, maybe like 40 seconds, depending on how much you're breathing, depending on who you are, it's actually starting to change how your feelings are in your brain, okay? Because remembering, smell is linked up to our limbic system, and that's where we hold all of our fear, anxiety, anger, happiness, joy, etc. Okay? So use them in all three modalities. I'm a huge fan of taking them internally, but if you don't want to do that, at minimum, body, anywhere in your body, diffusing in the air, okay? Okay, so let's talk about some of my 3 favorites that I have started using, particularly now, and I'm trying to get my teenagers to use. I'm telling you, it still can be a struggle because they think I'm a little bit crazy at times, but I think this is extremely important for people to understand. You want to really think about something like harmony and forgiveness together, okay? We need to first, let's go back to forgiveness. We need to all be very, I guess, sensitive and grateful, and I'm trying to think of the right word, understanding of the fact that we are all in a very, very stressful environment. No one has ever been in this space before, okay? So when we're talking about forgiveness, there are people in our lives that we need to forgive. Yes, okay? Whether it be, you know, someone you haven't talked to in 15 years or something that happened 2 minutes ago. But I think a lot of forgiveness personally comes back to ourselves, because there is actually a study that was done that 75% of the thoughts that we have every day in our brain for ourselves are negative. So if we think about that, we're putting all this negativity into our body every day. And when you're doing that, what are you doing? You're creating a hostile space. And we create a hostile space, we're not creating a space of where we should be connecting and growing. So the forgiveness is really for you. And then the harmony side of things is to find that balance. So these 2 oils together, and I will tell you, actually adding a little bit of orange, which I don't know if you guys can see me, adding a little bit of orange in there is just an amazing way of setting an intention for yourself that supports you. And that's super important. Hope is put in here as well. Hope has Melissa in it, which is a very high frequency oil that I love. I actually put on the top of my head. It can be very pricey. I'm going to say that to you, but Hope smells amazing. And I feel like it's important for all of us to think about the fact that we need that. We need hope right now. We need to not look at the glass being half empty. We need to not putting the negative stuff into the universe. We really need to be creating a positive environment around for us. So these 3 oils, or a combination of any of them, I think is extremely important for people to realize they can physically put on their bodies, and or they can also put out into their spaces around them. They can even do this around, like if you guys have kids or people around you who may not be like giving all the positivity, just putting this into the space, they're breathing it in, it actually does change their mood without even knowing it, okay? All right, so let's move on to like the sacred valor that we all have. For anybody who actually has valor, we all know we kind of refer to it as the unicorn oil. It's the oil of courage. When I first started educating people and getting up in front of people and talking and like live stuff like this, I would douse myself in valor. I was so uncomfortable with myself that, and I just didn't think I could get through it. And I was too nervous that I thought I needed this. Whether or not it was a crutch or whatever, it worked for me. I use less and less valor now on the everyday when I do talking in front of people, because it doesn't scare me anymore, because this is part of who I am and I just feel very passionate about it, regardless if my face turns bright red or I get splotchy. But valor is a space, it gives you a space of feeling like you're courageous and you have, it's empowering. I don't know if there's a way to describe it to anybody who's never tried this. For everybody who is in here who has a premium starter kit, for anybody out there who's been oiling for a long time, you know the value of valor. I have multiple friends who use valor as perfume. I know there's men who use valor as kind of like a cologne. You can put valor anywhere, including the top of your neck and the back of your spine. So I also want you to think about, we're going to talk about stress and emotions. A lot of people hold their stress and emotions kind of coming from your head all the way down their neck and spine, like this whole area. If you combine it with something like a Pan-Away or a Deep Relief and you're putting valor in there, it helps to relax those muscles while smelling good. It is actually really interesting because our bodies tend to go like this. It actually helps to release everything down into our bodies. Okay. It is 1000% something you should have with you in your toolbox at all times, for everybody that's out there. This is the feelings kit that this was inspired for me to put in here because I have a very good friend right now who is, I was referring to a lot of people, and I know you guys all have a lot of people who are kind of like we're first responders, people who are in the medical industry. I guess we're calling them first responders. We were having a conversation at dinner about this. They are people who are on the front lines, okay? And so I've actually had a couple conversations and they've said that they're feeling they almost feel like they have PTSD from being in the front lines in battles of this. And, you know, our hearts go out to these people who are trying to help us and are trying to take care of us. And we want to make sure they're protected, right? And all these amazing companies like New Balance. And I think, I forget, there's two other ones. I think Bauer, who is the hockey company, is actually going to start helping like making medical grade products for people, which is amazing. So we can protect the people out there doing what they can do for us. But this feelings kit came up and I wanted to include it. I've done this twice in my life. It is a series of oils that you put together, and there's a whole pattern that goes along with it that helps you release what's going on in your body, okay, and helps you become more in touch with who you are. A lot of people who do have PTSD or holding on to a lot of trauma will actually use this. So I encourage you to do that. But as you can see the harmony, and you can see the forgiveness in there, and you can see the valor, all things that I've talked about, okay? The cool, like also think about release, inner child, and present time. So obviously present time, you want to deal with what's going on now. Inner child really goes back to everything that we're holding physically inside of our bodies, regardless if you're like, even if it's like your 7-year-old self or your 27-year-old self, okay? And then release is giving us the ability to actually get it out of our bodies. Release is great when you use it over your liver, all right? All right, so joy, here we go. So joy smells amazing to me now. I am not going to lie to you. This can be a hard oil for people. And people ask me all the time. So as I said, I'm using joy and orange together. Joy has a lot of geranium in it. It is a very floral smell. Now, when I do want to just remind everybody, when you're using essential oils, sometimes you dislike the smell just because you dislike the smell, but sometimes you have an aversion, and there's a difference, okay, between the two of them. There is a rule when you start oiling and you start really using it for emotional support, especially something like joy, to start using it for 30 days consistently, regardless if you like the smell or don't, because remember, these are therapeutic, okay, so this isn't always just about the smell. I always put it every day over my heart, just like this. And I breathe it in. Obviously, every time I put anything on my body part, I'm always breathing it in as well. And if you guys know me, I'm always back of arms, like kind of up and down everything. But I encourage you to use this in combination with something like orange or citrusy. it definitely gives you like a pep in your step, makes you feel happier. But if it's something that innately doesn't scream to you, there's probably other things going on in the back of your mind and space that aren't allowing you to get there, and give it time. This is a journey, okay? This is not going to happen overnight, and you need to apply these oils on the regular basis to create that kind of space, okay, for everybody. Okay. Stress away. All right, so stress away is kind of just speaks for itself. This is an easy way of doing it. It's in a pre-made roller. I have like 15 oils on my desk, but I don't have one to show you guys because I make my own little pre-made rollers like this. I use old bottles. It's a pre-made roller, which is awesome. They have, I think, 8 of them or 9 of them in the collection right now. They have a carrier oil in them, which, as most of you know, a carrier oil is something that's a little bit thicker viscosity in it that goes with the essential oils, that basically just dilutes it a little bit, that makes it easier to spread on your body, and is great. Like it's great for like smaller children. So having this kind of in your pockets, it has a little bit of lime, a little bit of what am I trying to say? Vanilla. It kind of, to me, it always smells like take me away, I'm sitting on the beach. All right. This in combination with multiple things. Obviously the roller straight up by itself, but one of my favorite combos is Stress Away, orange, and lavender together. So you guys can always try that one in your diffuser as well. Remembering you're looking to take the stress away from what's happening in your body. And by breathing that in, just putting on your wrist, just like you would, and taking that 20 seconds, not the mom, I can do it, like a real 20 seconds or even 30 or even a minute, if you can give yourself, like we did in the beginning, can actually start to bring your heart rate down, bring your stress level down, and your breathing down. And remember, we're trying to take our breath from here all the way down to our lower lobes, okay? We want to breathe deep. Okay, so I threw in this slide for you guys. Trauma Life is not for everybody. It is an oil that is actually back in stock. I was checking this and I wanted to add it in because I think it's relevant for people. There is, there are a lot of, like, as I said, there are a lot of people who are feeling like they have PTSD right now. They have a lot of very severe trauma. A lot of us had trauma in our life, and a lot of us dealt with it, whether you do it for therapy or you're dealing with like friends or however you've dealt with it. But sometimes we have trauma that's untreated and so deep that we're unaware of it. But as you start to become aware of it in your life, adding Trauma Life to your kind of daily routine can be very helpful for helping you deal with the journey of dealing with the trauma. This is obviously not going to take away the trauma. None of this will. This is all here to help ease, maybe change what's happening in your brain, reprogram it a little bit, put less of a sense of trauma behind it and more like forgiveness and acceptance in a space where you can move through it, because that's our whole goal, is to be able to have all these feelings and move through them, and using the oils to do that. It is absolutely not for everybody, but it's important for people to know that it is there as an absolute resource. A lot of people who are in the military use it, especially when they come back from certain situations. So I've had conversations with people. Peace and Calming, everybody knows, it says what it is. End of story. Like, I don't really feel like there's too much more we need to say about it. I have a lot of friends who have kids who have a little bit of like, maybe like stress or anxiety before they go to bed, or they just love the smell of it. They've made pillow sprays, they've made linen sprays out of it. This is something they use as a tool in their toolbox. My personal, one of my favorite rollers that I have, I made, again, just like this because I reuse them all the time, but I make my little roller on top, is equal parts Peace and Calming and Valor, and I do half the drops of lavender. It is absolutely my favorite chill out blend, and I'll just give you a little backstory in it. It was created because at the time my now almost 14-year-old daughter was probably almost 10 or 11, and she was having one of those hysterical like and we've all been there. So whether like you just can't talk, like there was no real reason why she was doing this. There was nothing particular that was going on behind it. And it was kind of my aha moment for me in some ways when I actually started realizing how impactful the oils could be from an emotional and social way. So I just put all these oils in my hand and I threw in the shower because water is really, really cathartic and helps you just like decompress. And I put them over my hands and I stuck my hands in the shower and I had her breathe. And within a minute, probably underneath that, she was actually able to bring her breath back to a normal spot. So that was something I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like that worked for her. And then it became my kind of like mommy's Gillette blend. And anybody who knows me, I have a roller necklace that I wear a lot of times. And that's always the blend that's in there. Because I feel like how many times a day I could be circling that stuff around my face and doing everything like that. So I'm a huge fan of that. It can be 100% used by itself, but I love it in combination with other things as well. Okay, so frankincense. So as I said, I practice yoga. I definitely have been integrating more meditation into my daily practice, as well as gratitude journals. And I know a lot of people do this. I think that we need to create a space where we're looking outside of the madness and the chaos. And even if it's something you didn't do January 1, it's probably something you're looking to do now, right? We're trying to create this space of emotional well-being for all of us, as well as physical well-being. Okay. And frankincense is one of those oils that does an amazing job doing that. Straight up by itself, I will say a lot of people who are into meditation and yoga, straight up actually put it, when you're talking about being grounding, you actually want your feet on the floor. Sorry, you guys can't see me, but I felt obligated to put my feet on the floor. You put frankincense on your feet and actually you feel grounded to the earth. Okay, so when you're doing your yoga practice or you're doing your meditation, you feel like you're actually stable in that space and having that connection. It's kind of like when they always say to go for a walk in the woods and touch the trees, or for me, it's walking on the beach and getting my toes in the sand. I feel grounded because you're getting those negative ions coming from the earth that help to balance you out. Frankincense has the ability to do that as well. Frankincense is obviously, we know, has been around. It was, even if you're not religious, we all know that frankincense was one of the gifts that was given to baby Jesus. So we know it was extremely sacred. The healing properties behind it, it's the king of all oils. It probably has 10,000 different ways of using it. But if you're thinking from a real grounding, kind of just bringing yourself down to a space, put it on your feet, mix it with something. So I always sleep every night with lavender and cedar wood. But every once in a while, I'm looking for a little bit more and I'll add frankincense to it, because I feel like I just need something else that's going to tether me to the ground. So adding it in there is really good. I will also tell you straight up, I pop that bottle cap off. I put one of these little suckers on it and I go around my eyes every single day to give myself, I'm looking on my little, little things that happen when you smile too much. We'll just say that as you get a little older. Every single day I put frankincense on. It has amazing healing properties for your face. So not only, I feel like when I'm putting on my face, especially at night, if I forget to put in diffuser or I decide I'm not using it for the evening, I'm still getting it into all the cells in my body that's helping my body relax, because that's my end goal, is to be able to make sure I'm getting a great night's sleep. And I'll be honest with you, it has been a struggle. I think the last 2 weeks, as for most, because I don't think our brains are fully shutting off, because it's hard to comprehend everything that's happening. So anything I can do to help my space go into there, I will. And then it leads me to this. So I will be honest with you, when, the whole CBD market is insane, right? It's everywhere. Hold on one second. I just need a sip of water. It's everywhere. I love the fact that originally Young Living partnered with Nature's Ultra and then decided to actually incorporate the company, because when they partnered with them, they were putting Young Living oils into it, and so they were coming together. And now that they're actually part of Young Living, it's even better, because I know and I trust the quality of where the CBD is coming from, because again, it's everywhere and you want to make sure you understand the quality of it. I have actually in the last 2 weeks started using CBD every night, this roller, the 300, before I go to bed. My kids, my teenage girls, as I was referring to before, are having a very hard time sleeping. And they are getting up, between the two of them, probably 2 to 5, 6 times a night going to the bathroom. So I know it's not that they don't have to go to the bathroom. And I know it's not that they're drinking too much water. I know it's because they physically can't shut their brains off. So we needed to kind of bump it up to the next level. And this has been something that I had started integrating for myself. And last night, one of my kids actually took into her own space and did that. So we are using that on the regular in our family to help calm everybody down. The cool thing about it for me is there's no THC in it, guys. This is something you can whip out anywhere. And I know a lot of people use CBD, and I'm sure some of you guys in here use this. As I said, it was newer for me, but I feel like it is, when I add it in, as I said, I do cedarwood and lavender every night, and I put the CBD in it as well. I feel like it's giving myself a space to be able to calm down even more. So my nervous system, because remember, our nervous system is what sets off our stressors, is able to relax. So love it. And I feel it's 100% safe to use on your kids. And I do have friends who actually use it on their dogs. I'm just going to straight up tell you that. All right. So the next like 3 or 4 slides, I just wanted to throw some stuff in here. So this is what we remember. We're talking about emotions. Emotions, obviously, we're talking about our emotional well-being. So using the oils to support our immune system. Awesome. Okay. Get your nervous system down, then you get your stressors down, so your immune system can kick in, excuse me. But I would feel negligent without telling you guys about the fact that you need to be able to support your physical body as well to make sure that you're both in balance. We want everything to be in harmony. I mean, obviously this is a beautiful space to be, and we want to be there. And this is our lifetime goal, is to be in this equal space. But so I wanted to kind of show you a couple of supplements that I highly recommend for people that I take every day. Okay. So I take Ningxia every day. I have for 2 years, straight up, packed with antioxidants. Just a quick like rundown of antioxidants. Antioxidants are the things that kill free radicals. Free radicals are the things in your body that make you get sick, illness, disease, viruses, etc. So for me, taking 2 shots of this every day is a no-brainer. You take 2 shots, call it a day. Before I used to joke, I'd line them up on the counter. My kids would go after school. I line them up on the counter, and then my kids go to various different places in my house right now. So everyone's still getting that because I want to give that antioxidant boost. Over here, these little packets are master formula. So both myself and my husband, and now my 16-year-old daughter, are taking these on the daily. They are their version of a multivitamin. The reason why you will see there's 6 pills, there are 4 pills in each one of the packets. They're individually sealed, is because you cannot get everything you need from one multivitamin in a single pill. So they broke it all out, and then they gave one little capsule, that's all essential oils. And just for anybody who doesn't know this, when you add in essential oils to a supplement, the absorption rate can go anywhere from being 20% all the way up to almost 80%. So you're taking what you would normally pee out of your body in a supplement and actually absorbing it. So that's pretty amazing. So it's worth this is again why it's worth having quality, but I had no idea how amazing it would be to actually have the essential oils in it. Omega-Gize is something, so this is like fish oils. This has been around forever. I've been taking them for years and years and years. I swapped over to Omega-Gize about a year ago. I love it. Everyone in my family of 5, everyone takes that every single day. My youngest doesn't take 2. He only takes 1 because he's young and he doesn't need it. He gets them from other sources. And then the last absolute thing that I'm a big gut health person, but that's a different webinar. Take Life 9 right before you go to bed. Okay. It's a probiotic. It helps your gut health. You want your gut health to be 70% of your wellness is in your gut. When your gut's working, then your body can actually do what it needs to do and your immune system can kick it. All right. Super B. So here's the deal with Super B. We all need a massive, people talk about I think people talk about B6 and like B12s and different things. Even doctors, when they go in, they'll check your B levels. They've managed to actually, and I actually wrote this down, they've managed to put in Super B, it has B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, 7, and 9, and has more bioavailability for B12. It does not mean you're actually getting B12, because I know a lot of people do B12 shots, but it gives you a lot of the B supplements that we all need that help our bodies. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Like process and deal with the emotional struggles that we have, okay? So it helps our bodies to regulate that aspect of our body. So I now have implemented in Super B into all of our lives. I think it's important. Again, I take 2 a day, my husband does, and my kids take different variations of it. I just feel like it's a great way to support the stressors that are happening throughout the body. All right, so Thyromin I threw in because Elaine is on this call and she could actually like jump in and have a whole conversation with it. But anybody who struggles with any kind of imbalance, and this is something I would not just throw in randomly. This is for people who kind of borderline, and I'm sure you guys all know who you are. You've gone to the doctor and they say you're kind of like your hormones a little bit off, your endocrine system's a little bit off. Your thyroid might be like, you're borderline with all these things. There's a lot of conversation about that. Just know that there is a supplement that you can use, and Elaine, who's on here, could give you an in-depth conversation about how she implemented this into her life to support herself. But I thought it was important for you guys to know that there are ways of doing that from like an autoimmune standpoint as well. Okay, and then Impro, which is a supplement, which I have, I'm sorry, my daughter's making some sort of weird noises at me. This is something you don't want to take every day because it does have melatonin in it. But there's been a lot of research that was done saying that when you are having a hard time sleeping, obviously when we don't sleep, and I've referenced it a couple times in this call, we have a hard time moving on with everything else. Like we should, in theory, be able to go to bed, wake up in the morning, feel refreshed, and start our day. I think a lot of times we're just not getting the quality. It may not be quantity, it might be quality of sleep. Like you might be getting in bed for a period of time, but you may not be sleeping all the way through. And they've said that if you add Immunopro into your kind of nightly routine for a period of time, this is something you would take for a period of time and then you would stop, just like some supplements that you do. You'd integrate it into your kind of wellness routine to see if it helps with you being able to get a better night's sleep. And when you do that, the reason why it helps to support your immune system. So then again, you're bringing everything back up to where we want it to be from like a fully balanced functional standpoint. Okay. I don't want anyone to ever, and I'm like myself included, I think I'm talking to myself more than anybody else, to ever underestimate the power of getting a good night's sleep. Obviously we know that we want good nutrition and we want good nutrition, we want good food, we want good balance of making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're drinking lots of water, making sure you're trying to not think negative thoughts, as we were talking about before, and kind of just trying to keep your whole body in this harmonious state, okay? So I am going to, if I can find my, there we go. Hold on one second. I don't know why it doesn't want me to stop screen sharing with you. There we go. All righty. Okay, so I am going to, all right, so what I won't do is I'm actually not going to unmute everybody because a lot of people have background noises going on. Oh, look at Heather's cute little puppy. But I want people to ask questions within this space. Aw, Heather, you can unmute yourself. What's your puppy's name? She's there. Oh, I can unmute you.
Lulu.
What's the name?
Lulu.
Lulu?
Lucy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and if anything doesn't work, then always get a therapy dog. Right? Dogs are amazing. Oh, look, and hi Heidi. We got your awesome background.
I don't know how to change it now.
It happened to me the other day. I was on a Zoom call and it looked like I was in Paris, which made me happy, but you know.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you gonna do?
We've had so many Zoom calls that my kids keep changing it.
That's true.
Like they have Zoom for school and yeah. So one day it was like my daughter making faces with her friend and I was like, oh, how do I take that off? I'll try to figure it out.
So I just
a couple of questions for
yeah,
you.
go ahead, Elaine.
So, you know, I was thinking we're all home, right? And all of us have different schedules. So I can talk about mine, right? I'm working full time at home. I got 2 teenagers at home. There's just a whole lot going on. Much like you, my teenagers are feeling the stress of this current situation. They're old enough to understand all of it, right? But there's just still not enough time in the day to do all the things that are so good for us, right? So if you had to pick like your top 2 things that would contribute the most to helping support emotions for us and for everyone really, for mothers and fathers and whoever in general, like what would you suggest would be the 2 top things? You know, keeping time sensitive, like the things that would give us the most bang for the buck, so to speak.
Okay, so I think from just a pure, like, I feel like the yogi in me has got to say this. I want to go back to breath. I feel like it's like we everywhere we go, we have the availability to stop and take a breath, right? We don't really have an excuse to not be able to do that, even if we don't want to. So I feel like giving ourselves a minute of that time out throughout the course of the day is invaluable. But I think to your point, Elaine, like I think starting some sort of a routine when you wake up. So I think like if I was to say to you right now, like oils to pick when I woke up in the morning to put on myself, and I just do this innately every day, I 100% think you should put joy on your heart. I think especially right now with everything that's going on. I also would say to you, if you have it, like if you don't want to do the whole big feelings kit, which is totally understandable, but something to definitely put on your radars for later on. I'm a big fan of release. I feel like it's super important. These are two things that you can do very quickly in the morning. Like you're getting dressed, you're putting on your makeup, you take joy, you breathe it, put it all over your heart, and then release putting over your liver. But I'll tell you, depending on where you hold your, so I like, if you're going to talk about body chakras for me, I tend to hold a lot of things in my voice. So it's sometimes hard for me to actually articulate what I want to say. So when I feel like I'm getting stuck there, I actually use release on my throat to actually help me to be able to articulate. And I think that is actually not a bad thing for all of us to do, because we're like, if you need to articulate the fact that you need 5 minutes or that you're doing something else or something's frustrating you, the fact you are being able to articulate that is invaluable, right? So you're taking care of your heart and your throat. And if you know anything about how yoga works with chakras, you're kind of going up this way. Obviously our goal is to come all the way up, opening everything up so we can like feel like we're connected up to the universe like that. So I would say those two things. Making sure, so that's kind of like a morning routine. I 1000%, I'm not gonna lie to everybody, everybody has to be taking Ningxia. Like just from a pure, I forget about what's happening now. I've been talking about this for 2 years. It is just the antioxidants that you're getting in that, majority of us, I would say 99% of us are just not getting it. So just 1000%. Oh, hold on a second. And then I have a call. Hold on. I'm going to listen to Jacqueline some. And then at nighttime, really implementing, I gave you a couple suggestions. I'm happy to have more suggestions. And I think you have to play around with it and also understand that sometimes you might love something and it might change like 2 months later. Making sure you set up a night routine. Take your diffuser. If you don't have multiples, put it in your bedroom before you go to bed. Start diffusing the oils a little bit before you would actually enter that space or while you're kind of getting ready. It starts to set an atmosphere. Just think about it as like setting an atmosphere like you would at a spa. You want to have that same kind of concept. So creating a space for you that's sacred and where you're not bringing your laptops and your computers or you're watching TV, like something that actually gives you the availability of shutting down. Excuse me, like I take my kids' cell phones away, but I mean, we as adults, like we have to learn how to modulate that stuff for ourselves. So those would be things I would do. And if you're going to put oils in yourself, which I highly recommend, feet, like behind your ears, back of neck, wrists, these are all kind of just things you put a couple drops on, you're going like this all around you and making sure you're breathing them in. That would be like, I think those are kind of like morning, like Ningxia, wherever you want to put it in your day, and evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Jackie sent a chat.
Yeah. Okay, so Jacqueline, yes, there are definitely oils that we would avoid while you were pregnant, but I can send you, there's a whole protocol that we can talk about a little bit more. Dr. Heidi's on here, who actually deals with a lot of people who are pregnant. So we can definitely have a conversation. Heidi, if there were things that she really wanted to lean into, from a pregnancy standpoint, do you have any suggestions that kind of just pop off the top of your head?
Yeah, so you can use the lavender all the day long, Jackie. And then also I sent you that handout of the pregnancy stuff. So I always tell people when you're pregnant, the only ones to avoid are the plant clary sage and the oils that contain clary sage, which you're not going to really be turning to anyway. But one of them would be clary sage and another one would be dragon thyme. Those two I would avoid. I'm not a huge fan of using a lot of Panaway during pregnancy, even though you probably have back pain and sciatic pain and that sort of stuff. You can, but because it has wintergreen in it, that can, in large doses, lead to a little bit thinner blood. So I always say, let's not, take the chance. There's other things that you can use for helping with your discomfort. So my only major restrictions are hormonal stimulators. And the only one you'd be able to get from Young Living would be clary sage. And then anything with, wintergreen applied to your body. You will see use caution with things like ylang ylang. When you look at the research, it is extreme high doses of it being on or in your body. So I really think that we're just not going to be encountering that. So my restrictions just still stay with clary sage and anything with wintergreen for high doses. And then what you can use is use your sniffer. So it's super acute when you are pregnant, and go to what you're drawn towards, because it may surprise you. And even though it's labeled for, maybe the bottle's labeled hope, like Kim was talking about, but you are disgusted by it, just rely upon your kind of sixth sense while you're pregnant to really lean into the ones that make you feel an emotion that's positivity, because you need as much like happiness and joy and positivity for you to flood the baby with hormones of your, joy. So really use your sniffer.
Thanks, Heidi.
Does anybody else have any questions? Or just other kind of like feedback on like, a personal story they feel like might be relevant to help other people? Okay, everyone looks all happy. All right, so I'm glad you guys all joined us tonight. I love the fact that Jackie used the chat feature, which is like we're learning all these fabulous things on Zoom. It's so much fun. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. I did record this, so I can obviously send it to people because I know there's a couple of people who aren't able to make it. So I'm happy to send that to anybody who wants it. And I hope you guys have an amazing evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elaine.
Oh, I am unmuted. Yes, can you send me the link, please? Because I have a couple of people who couldn't make it tonight who want to hear.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim.
You're welcome, guys. Have an amazing evening.
Thank you.
Bye.